Welcome to the original Battle of the Ports, and in this 419th show, we are going all modern. Well, modern for this show, with Rayman 2, The Great Escape. Originally, Rayman 2 started life as a 2D platformer for the Saturn, PlayStation and Windows, but eventually changed into what we have here. First released on the Nintendo 64 way back in October 1999 and featuring the ability to use the extra N64 jumper pack for higher resolution graphics. Rayman 2 takes place in a world called the Glade of Dreams and revolves around its invasion and occupation by an armada of interstellar robot pirates led by Admiral Razorbeard. In contrast to its predecessor, which was a 2D platformer, Rayman 2's 3D worlds offer a surprising amount of flexibility for the first move to 3D. The player navigates through the levels fighting enemy robot pirates, solving puzzles and collecting lums. Collecting enough lums gains the player access to new parts of the world. Part of the lums are hidden in small cages, in which other freedom fighters or teensies are imprisoned and can be obtained by breaking the cages. Rayman starts the game with minimal abilities, and he can gain more abilities as the game progresses. The main weapon available in the game is Rayman's Fist, with which enemy orbs can be shot. Eventually the orbs can be charged before shooting them, making them more powerful. Rayman can also enter a strafing stance, which allows him to easily aim orbs while avoiding enemies. Rayman later gains the ability to swing over large gaps using purple lums. Rayman is also able to use his helicopter hair to slow his descent while jumping, with some segments later in the game allowing him to fly with his hair. There are also various items in Rayman that can be used throughout the game, such as explosive barrels which he can throw, giant plums he can ride on to carry him across dangerous surfaces, and rockets he must ride on to access new areas. The first port went to Windows, and what a fantastic port it is! As to be expected, this is based upon the Nintendo 64 original, but now features much smoother frame rates, higher quality textures and audio, plus a camera that behaves itself a little better. The Dreamcast version has various changes from the Nintendo 64 and Microsoft Windows versions, including several 2D sprites being replaced by 3D models, improved texture quality, and minor level design changes. The Dreamcast version also has exclusive minigames, 6 hidden globe crystal collectibles, and replaces the Hall of Doors with the Isle of Doors for the world map. Michael Ansel, the director of Rayman 2, has previously stated that he believes that this version is the best version of the game. Nice one for Sega fans. Oh, and this is also the only port that features a true 16:9 mode. I'm playing in 4:3 here to keep it consistent with the other versions. This version was later ported to iOS devices in March of 2010, which was removed in 2013. Yep, Digital only distribution will always suck. PlayStation also got a port, and while it can look as shaky as an old age pensioner trying to open a jar of jam, it is a good port. Developed by Ubisoft Shanghai, this is the first version to have the characters speaking real languages, which in my opinion takes away some of the charm found in the other versions. The level design has changed somewhat from the Dreamcast version, and for whatever reason, they have decided to change the opening narration to a woman who can't say Rayman correctly. Sounds more like she's saying Raymond. Thankfully, this port plays well, although the camera can be troublesome if you aren't using a DualShock pad. But overall, this is a very good port, considering the PlayStation is the weakest of the full-fledged console versions. Rayman Revolution was what Rayman 2 was called on the PlayStation 2. And just like the original PlayStation port, this is also a strange port. Rather than following the Dreamcast version, this follows the original N64 game, but also includes the English voices from the PlayStation game, but now with a different opening narration. In the game there are differences too, such as the tutorial stage and a whole host of new areas. Sadly, a lot of the new points lose the charm of the Dreamcast version, which is probably why Michael Ansel prefers that one. Also, for some reason the PlayStation 2 version has pretty ugly loading screens. Ubisoft Milan made an alternative remake known as Rayman 2 Forever for the Game Boy Color. As you can see, this version is a 2D side-scroller, but does follow the story of the other versions. It was released in December 2001 in Europe and January 2002 in North America. While it plays nothing like the other ports of Rayman 2, it is a pretty good 2D platformer for the Game Boy Color. Controls do feel a little heavy at first, but you'll soon get used to them. DC Studios ported over the Nintendo 64 game to the DS under the name of Rayman DS. While this is a pretty much straightforward port, there are a few changes such as simplified textures in most areas and some music tracks missing. The sound overall is very good though. Sadly, they had to add some touch controls. Besides that downside, this is a pretty nice port. Yes, it's a little rough looking and the frame rate isn't that hot, but still, it is rather a good port, all things considering. And let's take a look at all those versions of Rayman 2 running side by side.